BTS News Today. The day began as usual for armies around the world, with endless anticipation, love, and pride for their idols. However, no one predicted that this day would bear witness to a confession of love so deep, full of emotions and shaking the hearts of millions of people in all corners of the world. Jungkook, the golden magne of BTS, spoke words that had long been hidden in his heart. And when tears fell from his eyes, the world fell silent. BTS will never be the same after this. It is not new that BTS is known for their emotional openness on stage and off stage. However, the night, which was originally just a regular event to greet fans, turned into a memorable moment in the group's history. Jungkook, who has always been known for his strong charisma, evocative voice, and incredible dedication to the group and army, suddenly stepped onto the center of the stage with an expression that was difficult to explain. There was something different in his way of looking at the camera, something that caught the breath of the fans. In a silent pause that seemed to split time, Jungkook held the microphone tightly, lowered his head for a moment, and then let out a long sigh. The atmosphere became quiet. The other BTS members also realized that something big was going to happen. Taeyong looked at Jungkook attentively, Jimin looked at him with concern, while RM, the leader, just lowered his head while clasping his hands in front of his chest. No one knew exactly what Jungkook was going to say, but everyone felt it wasn't just a message for the army. Then the words came out. "I know this will surprise a lot of people, but I can't hide it any longer. I have harbored this for a very long time." Jungkook paused for a moment. His lips trembled. His eyes were glazed. Viewers watching live and millions more watching via live stream around the world fell into silence. There is a tension that pierces the heart. Such a long time in silence. I love someone who means so much to me. My love is not just admiration. It's not just friendship. It's a sincere love that made me cry in silence for years because I was afraid I would never be able to express it. A moment of tears broke out. Fans sobbed, social media exploded, and even some BTS members were seen starting to shed tears. Jimin covered his mouth with his hand, and Taeyong looked surprised, but his eyes showed a strange warmth, as if he knew who he meant. I love him more than words can express. I don't know if the world will accept it. I don't know if all of you will still love me after I'm honest. But I don't want to hide my heart anymore. I have fallen in love with the person who is always by my side. Jungkook burst into tears. He lowered his head, clasped his chest, and for a moment, the world seemed to stop spinning. This moment, a confession of love that came out of the depths of the soul, shook the entire K-pop world. And finally, in a voice that was barely audible but louder than any scream, Jungkook said his name. Taeyong, I love you. The emotional outburst that occurred after that cannot be described in ordinary words. The entire stadium was filled with the sounds of crying, applause, shouting, and silence all at once. The virtual world, in less than a minute, is full of hashtags #Jungkook confession, #Taekook love is real, #we love you Jungkook, and #BTS forever. Taeyong, who heard it, immediately looked at Jungkook with a look of disbelief. For a while, he didn't move. Then slowly, he walked towards Jungkook, who was still looking down in tears. Without a word, without explanation, Taeyong hugged her tightly in front of millions of watching eyes. And when Jungkook reciprocates her embrace with great emotion, no one can deny that this is real love. A love that has gone through so much time, pressure, fear, and secretly thrives in a secret space that only the two of them know. BTS, which has always been a symbol of friendship, struggle, and unconditional love, that day rose to a new level. They're a symbol of the courage to love sincerely, no matter what obstacles stand in the way. That day, the BTS members not only showed the love between them as brothers, but also as human beings who had the heart, fear, and courage to reveal the truth that they kept. Reactions from the army were mixed, but most showed support and tears of happiness. Many mentioned that they had long felt a special closeness between Taeyong and Jungkook, but never expected that Jungkook would confess his feelings openly, let alone with such strong and honest emotions. Thousands of digital letters flooded the fan community platform, many of them expressing respect, love, and gratitude for Jungkook for sharing the most fragile part of him. Thank you for being honest, Jungkook. You have taught us that love does not need to be hidden, wrote an army from Brazil. Jungkook and Taeyong, your love gives hope to many people. You guys are amazing. wrote a fan from the Philippines. The media around the world also immediately highlighted the moment. From CNN to Korean media such as Dispatch and Naver, all reported that Jungkook's moment of love confession was one of the most daring events in the history of the South Korean entertainment industry. Jungkook's actions could be a major turning point in the public perception of love in the Asian entertainment industry, which has been heavily constrained by norms and expectations. But behind that moment, of course, there are concerns. How did the company react? How will it impact BTS's contract, public image, and future? But HYB quickly responded with a brief but supportive statement. We fully support each member of BTS in their emotional and personal journey. BTS is all about love, honesty, and courage. We stand with them. And with that statement, a new era began. An era in which love, in all its forms, no longer has to be hidden behind smiles and songs. BTS proves that they are not just a music group, but a symbol of emotional strength, honesty, and social revolution on a global scale. The days after the confession were filled with reflections and cries of happiness. Jungkook not only gets love from Taeyong, but also from the millions of ARMY who embrace him through words and support. In a live broadcast a few days later, Jungkook spoke again, this time more calmly, but still conveying a very deep message. I don't know what our future looks like, but I know one thing: I do not regret having been honest. Because loving is part of me, and I want you all to know that you also don't have to be afraid to love. And Taeyong, in a soft tone, added, "We all deserve to love and be loved. And true love is never wrong." That was the moment that changed everything. Not because BTS lost something, but because they gained something bigger: honesty, trust, and true love. The world may never be the same again, and neither will BTS. But this change is an evolution, not a farewell. This is the beginning of a new chapter, not the end of their story. And if love can make someone as strong as Jungkook cry, then it must be really real. His cry is proof, and his confession is revolution. From that tearful night, one thing is certain: BTS is never the same after this. But perhaps it is precisely here that they find the truest form of love, one that is not afraid, not ashamed, and not limited by anything. After the monumental recognition, the world seemed to stop spinning for a moment to see how the continuation of the story. Not only ARMY cried with Jungkook, but also many celebrities, musicians, and public figures from different parts of the world showed their support. Even some world-famous singers, such as Halsey and Charlie Puth, called the moment the most honest and courageous revelation ever seen on stage. World reaction and praise for Jungkook's bravery from Korea to Brazil, from Tokyo to New York, the whole world is talking about Jungkook. Hashtags such as #LoveWins, #TaeKookForever, and #JungkookYouAreLoved have been trending globally for more than 48 hours in a row. Major media outlets such as the New York Times and the BBC even wrote special editorials on the social impact of the recognition. BTS's Jungkook has transcended cultural and industrial boundaries to show the world that love cannot be caged in fear. Time magazine wrote, "In a South Korean culture that is still very conservative towards expressions of same-sex love or relationships that do not match public expectations, Jungkook's confession opened up a dialogue that had been avoided." Many human rights activists in South Korea have called this recognition a historic moment that could accelerate social shifts. Taeyong. Meaningful silence after the night of the confession. Taeyong chose not to directly give a public statement. However, in a short post on Weverse the next day, he wrote, "When love speaks, the world can choose to be silent, to reject, or to embrace it. I chose to hug him." Capture it, you got one life to master it. Don't give up on your future. We all start losers. We're all late bloomers. Gotta